Jag minns ju den tid du gav mig life billar, yo. Nu vill jag kunna ge tillbaka allt jag inte kunna ge förut. Det finns ju ingen annan där som kan stå här by my side, oh why. Sättet du rör på det får mig att dö för dig, baby. För de här yardis, de vill ju bara dra ner oss. Men du är fett och vanlig. Och det jag lägger all min tid och jag vill ha dig. Du får mig känna safety. Jag kan nog leda dig, baby. Och jag kommer aldrig ändra mig. Aldrig.
Greetings. Welcome back. Another episode of the Gullah House Show.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Good morning, Chief. Good morning, Dom. Everything is good here. How y'all fellas doing?
I'm blessed, man. I'm doing good. Sorry out there for the little tardiness. It's my fault. It's always my fault. It's the Wi-Fi.
I'm doing good too, man. Just soaking all this summer radiation in, man. Just got back from Charleston, so.
Yeah, man. It sounds good. So, anything new going on in Orangeburg, Baba Kimo?
No, well, to tell everyone the truth, the community, we about to expect big things out at the Cosmic Green Spot, so y'all stay tuned for that. When we get it up and running, y'all can come on out and enjoy yourselves. The other thing I want to say is I'm gonna give a Black History moment right here, Chief, real quick. Happy birthday to Kwame Ture. You know, he's the brother who came up with the term Black Power. Back in the 60s. Back in the 60s, he came here to Orangeburg with H. Rap Brown at the invitation of Cleveland Sellers. So fast forward to that, I was 19 years old when two brothers, Senku Ali and Abu Bakr, took me. I was a student at BMCC College in Manhattan, and I was invited to join AAPRP back in the day. So I used to see Kwame Ture, so I shook his hand a couple of times. Can't say I know him very well, but I did get to shake his hand.
Yeah, man. Ashe, man. You know, happy birthday to Baba Ture for sure, man. His youngest son is one of my friends, Alpha Yaya. So he just made a post about it as well. Definitely got to hell up the ancestors who paved the way for us all day. So we have a great show today. You wanna introduce our guest, Baba Kimo?
Well, this young couple here, they come from the city of New Bern, North Carolina. We met them through our good friend Jesse Mars, and Chief and I was invited to be on their show. It was about a week or two ago.
Yeah.
And we're there with this organization called Black Family Rising. I believe the wife's name is Jada, and her husband's name is Grinder. I hope I'm saying it right. But they're with Black Family Rising from New Bern, North Carolina. So we welcome them to the Gullah House Show.
No doubt. We're gonna bring them out. Anything we got wrong, they definitely gonna set it straight. Salute. Greetings, family. Happy birthday.
Peace, family. How you doing?
What's up?
All right. Good to be here. Glad to be here with you guys.
Yes, thank you so much for inviting us.
Can't hear us?
Chief. Yeah, I can't hear Chief. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead, y'all. So what can I call you? Miss Jada?
Jasa.
Jasa. Okay, my bad.
Jasa.
Anyway, go ahead and tell us about what y'all got going on there in New Bern. You know, I've heard a lot about New Bern, and I know that y'all just had your Juneteenth festival, and I know that that lasted a couple of weeks. So go ahead and tell us about that.
All right. Well, we actually partnered with Juneteenth of New Bern, and they had a few things they had going on through the week. And so we were a part of a few of those things. One of the things was the health and wellness day that they had going on. And then on June 14th, they actually had the celebration and the parade that we got a chance to be a part of. And then we ourselves did our own event on June 21st, which was our very first boxing and MMA exhibition, which we were doing to get for a fundraiser we're doing called Books Up, Guns Down, where we're fighting against gun violence here in North Carolina.
Well, okay. That's good. I was going to ask you about the Books Up, Guns Down campaign because, as you probably know, all over, I guess, the different hoods in the nation or whatever, because we have the same problems here in Orangeburg.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
So, what kind of solutions, or tell us about the Books Up, Guns Down campaign?
Yeah, sure.
No,
Well, the
don't be shy, young lady.
The Books Up Guns Down campaign was originally thought about from my husband. So, but it's because we lost someone that was close and dear to us due to gun violence. And so at that time, we already discussed previously that we needed to do something in the community as far as gun violence is concerned. And so when that happened to a close loved one, it was like, now it's time to really do something. And so we gathered together with some close friends of ours. One is the president of the Juneteenth of New Bern that you met, Jesse Mars. And then the other one was Milton McGee and his family. They're the owners of M5 Clothing, as well as he's a realtor, and she is the head of the local cheerleading squad here. It's called Champions in Motion. And so we all talked about it, and then we just started having meetings, just trying to figure out what was the best way to connect with the youth, what is needed in the community. And one of the things that we discovered was that it's nothing here really for teenagers and children to do. And so, idle minds tend to get in trouble, right?
Yeah.
And so, and that's how the boxing event actually came about, because the first thing we did actually was the podcast live event. And we did a live podcast talking with people in the neighborhood, as well as we had a gun educator there. It's the Stephen Brown, and some other great people in the community. We had health coaches, life coaches. We had, of course, the people we just named as part of the panel. And we just discussed what was going on in the community as far as gun violence and just general questions that people had. And especially when it comes to us protecting ourselves, because it's a thin line. It's a gray area with that. Having guns, gun safety is important to know, as well as knowing the laws around guns, as far as it connects to us as, the Black and brown community, and what's going on with the police department and things of that nature. So it was a good thing to have. It was something that wasn't done before. And then we noticed after we did it, other people started doing it. So we was grateful for that as well, that, other people in the community saw what we was doing and, wanted to contribute as well and felt the need for it. And so the boxing event also came about because it was like, well, it's nothing for them to do. What is something that hasn't been done before? And one of the things that haven't been done was a boxing event. And we have boxing gyms in New Bern, but nobody did a boxing event for the community.
Right.
And so we had that on June 21st. It was a great event. Everyone came out and they loved it and they want us to do it again. And so I just feel like it's a start to building something great at this point. And then the campaign, we also have like the crisis fund that we started for families and victims of the families, that have experienced gun violence. Because when someone is killed due to gun violence, especially if they're the head of the household or the breadwinner, then everything else falls. And so we just want to create a fund to help people and families in that situation so they can get what they need as far as food, resources, help with rental, payments, help with funeral costs, or whatever else that they need in order to go through that difficult time, while they're grieving.
Okay, that's
Well,
what's up. I love
let
that.
me ask you this: how long has Black Family been in operation?
For 3 years. We just celebrated 3 years in May. We've been active for 3 years. We actually started off in Charlotte, and then we moved into New Bern.
That's dope.
Yeah, I think
I love that.
Yeah, I have a little background in violence intervention myself in my city. Yeah. I'm from Pennsylvania, but it's like a steady thing. This cycle of violence is never ending. And it's because we don't really analyze and understand the source of it. There's not something wrong with our brain. We really got to get more economically endowed with ourselves. We didn't see our ancestors killing each other because they were too busy hustling, making money, farming. They was busy working. And, we got to talk about jobs if we're going to talk about stopping violence. We got to talk about we got to talk about youth intervention, getting them early. You got to talk about rites of passage programs, show them the results of violence before they even encounter it. So they know already that this is not something they want to engage in. Very important because I was a victim of the lack of programs. Programs not being there, we were just all like sucked into the 90s, and it was a whole cycle of violence around you. You had to be aware of it, even if you wasn't going to participate. And it's almost like warfare, and we got to know how to bring the peace about and sustain that peace. And the sustainable peace is about economics. So I want to ask you guys: do you have a economic dimension of your program?
We're working on that part actually, because when you're talking about the economic, especially here in New Bern, North Carolina, I just had just seen something where one of the newscasters, I can't think of his full name, Brian, from one of the news places here, had posted up that they were building a lot of new things here. Yeah. And my thing was, okay, you're building a lot of new buildings and coffee shops and this and that and the other, but as you were just saying, they're not putting anything here for the children. They're not doing anything, you know what I'm saying, for the Black, brown community, the Latino community. This town, they geared towards being a retirement town. So we have a lot of retirees that come here to live. And they build their homes and whatnot. And my thing was, we need something for the people who service those retirees. You know what I'm saying? The housing market here is crazy, but the wages are low. So to answer the question for us, what we're striving to do is to, our next step is to build a building called the CHEW building, which stands for Community Health, Education, and Wellness. And through that, we would be able to give more resources, actually help people get jobs, because once we have the building open, we would definitely need employees. One thing that we're doing now, we started a program where we're helping like college students at the local colleges with a little bit of an internship. So helping us with things such as social media marketing, stuff like that, helping, helping us man our Facebook and Instagram pages and stuff like that, helping us put out flyers and other information. So we decided to start that. And something else too that we had started doing, I noticed around here where we live at, there were a lot of people who couldn't get jobs because they didn't have resumes. So I started helping people write their resumes for free. You know what I'm saying? No charge at all. I figured that would be something that could, definitely help a lot of our brothers and sisters in this job market, especially with the wages being as low as they are, and the housing market is literally just crazy. I'm pretty sure you guys are witnessing some of that yourselves.
Yeah, you're exactly right. New Bern sounds A lot like Orangeburg, I know.
It does, doesn't it?
It does. It does. I don't know how big it is, but it sounds a lot like Orangeburg. I did some of the same things myself when I was working with the library, helping people with resumes, and even with just basic applications, basic computer applications. Man, I can't tell you how upset I used to get with people that didn't know how to do basic things, and it was sad, really. It really was.
Right.
So I feel y'all pain. I kind of know what you're going through a little bit.
Oh yeah.
But are you guys originally from New Bern?
So I am. Yeah, I'm originally from New Bern, North Carolina, raised in a little community called Pembroke.
Mhm.
My wife, however, is from Gary, Indiana.
Yes.
Okay.
Indiana.
Yes.
No,
I'm
I
from
say
Gullah.
I say that because when I was in the military, I knew some white boys from Indiana, and they sound like Klan country to me. From what they was saying, you know, they was kind of wild. They was just some crazy old wild white boys we used to hang out in our military days. But I know what you're going through. I can feel that pain. I know.
That's why you yell.
Look, I want to know more about them stories, man.
Real.
We called them cornfed from where we from. Because we have cornfields. Most of them came from that area we didn't go into. So yeah, I know who you're talking about.
So Sister Jasmine, I want to ask you a question real quick. In terms of the doula work that you do and the spiritual work that you do, we're very interested in that because a lot of our research is uncovering that our ancestors were very spiritual, that we delivered our own babies and everyone else's, and that knowledge was unbroken. That was knowledge that the mothers came with from Africa. It was unbroken knowledge. It's a continuation. And so I want to ask you, being a doula, my mother was raised by doulas. My grandmother was a doula. I believe all the women all the way back was baby deliverers. There's midwives. And so I know it's a very spiritual thing, but how do you process the spirituality of delivering babies in the 21st century? What does it mean to you? How do you get involved with
it? So it means a lot. And what you said, yes, is true. We have been delivering babies since the beginning of time. But now it has become so you have to get, certificated for, or you have to take classes and you have to get licensed for. And most of us are already natural doulas. So going through that is kind of, I don't want to say it's not necessary. It is, because you need to know certain things, but it totally gives like a disregard to, your spiritual connection to it. Your already, mothering self, and it also, now the issue is in the doula community is that since we have another dynamic, we have the whole LGBTQ community, and so now we are required to say birthers instead of saying mothers, which is a whole now it's a division between the two, because you have men that wants to have babies and that needs care as well, right? And you have exactly, you have other beings, I'm going to say, because you have other human beings that want to be able to experience giving birth. So we have to be considerate of that as well. But it has caused a lot of division because some doulas I'm not doing that, and so, and then comes the question, like, does all human beings not deserve adequate quick care because you don't agree with what they're doing in their lifestyles, in their decisions. So right now, that's a big issue. As far as I'm concerned, I'm very spirit led. So whatever I'm called to do, I'm going to do it because there's a reason for it. But thankfully, I haven't came across that yet.
Thank God. Thank God.
Right.
Yeah, I was seeing some images in my head just now on certain stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yes, there's certain things I don't want to experience. Like
not the
like,
woman's side. That's the issue. It's just,
Yeah.
That's a
I just
little.
learned, sis.
But just to answer your question about like my spiritual connection, so I have been in spiritual work since I was a kid. I was an ordained minister at the age of 12. And so I've been in ministry since then, and then in Christianity. I started off in Christianity. Right now, I'm just in spirituality at this point. But I started off as that in Christianity, and I saw a lot of things there. I was very gifted as a child. So in Christian work or in our church community, it was just used for their benefit. I was used as the trophy. Hey, we have a youth minister who's a woman, who's a girl, and come see. So I was used as that vessel, and I transitioned into just using my spirituality and my gifts for myself. And in that transition, I found out that it made me had to leave a lot of people behind. I had to, a lot of people didn't agree with that because they had no longer any access to my gifts or to use it for their advantage. So the gift that I speak of is I can see things. Well, they call it the gift of prophecy, right? So I can see, I have visions, I have dreams, I can speak to spirits, I speak to my ancestors all the time, and things of that nature. So a lot of people used to come to me in the community and ask me, things that to help them, or, to help them benefit by getting money, or to help them benefit by knowing what's ahead, And so that was my path. And then I've been a doula since I always help give birth, people during birth and all of that stuff since a teenager. So that was just in me to do. I've been doing that. I've been raising kids for a long time before I had my own. But yes. But
how many have you delivered?
I helped deliver my cousin's children. I helped deliver mostly family members. I haven't did any strangers at this point. Mostly family members and like friends. But I'm a postpartum doula, so I'm not a full spectrum. I chose postpartum because I feel like that's where people need help the most after the birth, in the recovery process, and having that village to help support during that time, because that's one of the most difficult times, in my opinion. After giving birth is, having that person there to tell you, okay, wake up and eat. Okay, you need to do this. Okay, now it's time to feed the baby. Okay, now you need to rest. You need to make sure you're doing this and that and the other, and helping them transition into having a baby, because that's a life-changing thing. So that's my specialty, and that's what I love doing the most.
Thank you.
Thank
you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's much needed. Like, that's great to know that somebody's continuing that legacy and tradition of midwifery in our community.
Yes,
that is very deep. My own, I always tell personal experiences in my thing. But my great grandmother was the neighborhood, the community doula, I guess. She birthed a lot of babies here in Orangeburg and Cope. That's what she was known for doctoring. Sounds like you have a very a special gift or powerful lineage? Have you dug into your ancestry?
I have not. Well, I'm not going to say I haven't. My grandmother was big on the ancestry, DNA, all of that. So growing up, I saw it, but and like I saw like what we was made up of. It was like 2% Chinese and like 3% this, and it was crazy. But I don't know. I don't have it on me. Um, but I just learned a lot from my great grandmother. I was fortunate to have her still living when I was coming up. So a lot of information I just got from her. But we are going to do, since the last time we spoke, we're going to do our ancestry work, just so I know for myself, the DNA and all that coming back to me.
You'll probably find women just like you.
Yeah, that Taiwanese ancestry possibly came by through Malagasy ancestry. I was listening to you saying that. I'm thinking like that's probably where it comes from.
Yeah, say that.
Yeah, from Madagascar.
Okay. Well, now I got a question for the brother there, because I know he's I see him online doing push-ups and fitness thing. I see him doing his thing, brother. So how important is it for the brothers, the black men, to keep themselves in shape and stay healthy and all that? I see you out there. I see you had a little challenge going, and I was following it. I wasn't saying anything, but you got a 500 what is it? 500 push-up challenge, and I see you doing about 30 a day. Well, I can do 30. I can do 30. 500 is a lot, but yeah, man.
Hey, do what you can, man. Do what you can. But I'm glad you asked that question. It's very, very important for us to really pay attention to our health and wellness. As you know, in our community, we're the biggest community that gets a lot of sicknesses, unfortunately. And I became a personal trainer myself because I had he's an ancestor now, a great uncle of mine who was a personal trainer up until the age of 98. So I learned on from him about the importance of being healthy. He did yoga, he was vegan, vegetarian. He was vegetarian, you know what I'm saying? He was a martial artist, a bodybuilder. And so I learned a lot from him. But growing up, you know what I'm saying, I always had family members that were sick. You know what I'm saying? Even my mother and both of my parents died from heart disease. I had my aunt, my mother's only sister, she died from breast cancer. You know what I'm saying? And I know a lot of my family members had diabetes. Man, so many different problems. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, but when it comes to us, sorry, the baby's up. When it comes to us as Black men, we have a lot of issues to deal with our health, for is obesity. A lot of people don't look at that when it comes to us. They always look at the females and they say, oh, obesity for them. But, I'm noticing that a lot, especially here in New Bern, North Carolina. There are a lot of obese men. I work with some clients who are working on getting like the gastric bypass surgeries and stuff like that, because, their bodies are just not adjusted to having that weight. And there's so many bad foods, terrible foods that are poisoning us in the grocery stores that, people are living with these bad habits and stuff like that. So it's a mindset thing that needs to be changed, really. But we have a lot of issues, and one of the biggest things I'm finding out also, which we're dealing with also that with our health, is our mental health. A lot of depression. You know what I'm saying? A lot of depression and stuff like that, and that also comes from, believe it or not, the way we eat. You know what I mean? A lot of people, you know what I'm saying? A lot of and I have nothing against the meat eaters or nothing like that, but a lot of people that eat meat and stuff like that, you're eating dead flesh, right? So you got to think about the stress that animal went through that was murdered before it came to your table. Now you're taking on this same stress that this animal went through. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, a lot of people don't think about that, but that has a lot to do with our mental health, especially when it comes to men.
Yeah, that reminds me of a Native American, you know, not to get off subject, a Native American belief. I forgot what tribe. Like, even though they did, you know, they were meat eaters, but when they would hunt, they did it in a specific way. Like, they was almost as if they did it, they would bless the animal, like, because, like you said, you take the stress and all the aggravation the animal was going. So, yeah,
you know, it's the same way with Islam as well. Even with traditional African cultures, they like to pray on it, bless it, make sure the animal is calm, because they believe that that spirit transfers. You know, you can't just find a carcass and eat it, because you don't know how the animal died. You don't know how it lived. So yeah, absolutely, the spiritual aspect of it. But you know, I'm glad that you brought up mental health. It's a serious. It might be the #1 most serious issue in our community, particularly with Black men. And we're not talking about it. We don't know what to do about it. But from my own experience, man, I just feel like every day it gets a little more stressful. And if we don't find a way to constructively, you know, release that stress, that tension, it builds up and it calcifies. And what next thing you know, we got sicknesses that, you know, we shouldn't be having. And so you're right. You're right. It's a mental thing. It's not only about having a certain mentality. It's also about making sure that you're healthy up there, bro.
That's that's why it is so important for us to do, like you said, do some type of exercise. Every day I do something, man. I run a couple of times a week. You know, my wife just bought me a bicycle. I ride all over town. You got to do something to relieve that stress, especially now for me, because I'm retired and everything. So I keep myself busy doing the ancestry research and exercising it. If I don't exercise, man, I don't feel right. You know, so if I go a day, if I get lazy one day and say I don't exercise or whatever, I'm thrown out of whack. You know, you know,
that's why I like to get outside. Like, I'm good with book reading and stuff, but I gotta have my physical activities.
Well, Don, you're a country boy, Don. Of
course.
But man, your background sounds a lot like mine. I did a lot of the martial art thing when I was coming up. I've been a vegan. I've been meat. You guys probably wouldn't believe everything I've done over the last 50, 60 years. I done been through everything from not just the exercise, but even like what we were saying earlier with Stokely Carmichael and everything. I've been through the 5% thing. I've been through the Pan-African thing. And where I'm still Pan-African, so that'll never change. That'll never change. But I'm glad to see young couples, young brother like yourself, you know, trying to maintain his health. That's very important.
That's motivating me, a much younger guy, like, you know, stay on the track and do more.
Hey, and I'm not that young, y'all. I'm gonna be 50 next year, so I'm young, but not that young.
You still young. You still young. I got more gray hairs than you, young man.
I'm young up here, definitely young and
oh, good. See, that's why you exercise. I tell my son, I run my son and my nephews into the ground. They out of shape, man. I challenge them all. They scared to challenge me, man. I'll challenge them all the time to push ups and everything. They can't. They ain't ready yet. They can't. I say that about Fode. I tell Fode all the time, you need to get outside and exercise there, man. And you and
Listen, hey, I always say, I don't know why you assume that I don't get it in. I don't know.
I don't know why. Look, I just be listening. Like I think he gets his exercise.
I don't know why.
He told me he don't leave the house. That's what he told me. So I don't know.
I be wanting.
Well, maybe he exercise inside. Maybe he exercise.
I be wanting to get back in my vibe, man. I be wanting to get back in my grind. You know how it is. Like when you're young, you go hard in your 20s, man. You be trying to get that back in your 40s. You know?
Right. Yeah.
You're a little older than me. You got me by a couple years. You know, so yeah, we're going through that same process. You got to keep up with that blood flow. If you don't keep that blood flow,
me tell y'all, it makes a difference. I'm in my 60s now, and it makes a difference. How you exercise and take care of yourself. I'm not the best healthy eater because I do eat the things I like, but my wife, my wife keep me on track. She got every gadget you can name around here, fruit juicers, air fryers. She got everything, and she uses them. So I got her to keep me on point.
That's what's up. That's teamwork.
I want to say something too, real quick. Also, not just the exercise that we're talking about, the health, but also making sure that we're getting adequate rest as well. That's another thing. You know, like we were just talking about mental health. That's something that, you know, is being discussed a lot right now in the health community. A lot of people are exercising, which is great. You got to get at least 30 minutes of activity per day, or at least 4 to 5 days a week. Making sure you're eating good as well as you can. But, you know, with a lot of the hustle and bustle that's going on, you know what I'm saying, and people having to work harder now than before due to our economic issues, you know what I'm saying, there's a lot of fathers and mothers who are working 2 and 3 jobs. You know what I'm saying? Me and her went through it before. It was at one point that I get off one job and she's going to the next, and when she get home, I'm going to another. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, with that, when do you have time to rest? When do you have time for self-care? There's another thing that people don't, you know, think about is your self-care. All of these things play a part of your health and wellness. I just wanted to point that out real quick before we go any further. Just for people for the people listening, please get adequate rest. Make sure you're getting enough rest. You know what I'm saying? If you're not getting rest, the thing about that is adequate rest and stress management, right, is big, because your cortisol levels, they rise. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're sleeping, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't realize that when you're sleeping, that's when a lot of the changes in your body is happening. So if your cortisol levels are too high, then that right there is where you get a lot of chronic diseases and stuff that come into play. So if you're not getting that adequate rest and you're not, you know, working on your stress management, then, you know what I'm saying, your health and wellness is already in jeopardy. So I just want to point that out before we went any further. I'm glad you
did. Well, I agree with you, because there was a time when I was a young man when I could go 2 days, a day or two without sleep because I was just hanging out. But as you get older, you live and learn. So I'm glad you pointed that out. So to pass that on to these young men like Don.
Yeah, like, because you know,
but that's what it is.
Man, it's like hustle.
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta have rest, man.
Right.
Like you can't run on 0 and expect to go 100. Like you're lying to yourself.
Right.
That part. That's right.
Okay. I want to ask you guys about. I was reading a little bit about New Bern history. Have you guys shared the history of New Bern? Because y'all do have a little, not little, but a huge civil rights history. I was reading about. I think they had some high school students that that followed the lead of the South Carolina college students, not just South Carolina college students, but the ones in Wilmington and Greensboro and those places. So y'all do have a strong history there. Have you guys dug into the history a little bit?
A little bit, actually. I need to dig into it a little bit more, but I have dug into it a little bit, especially when it pertains to James City, which is here in New Bern, North Carolina, and talking about how the land was taken from the our black and brown people that were here. That happened during the Civil War, I believe. I can't think of that. I think we did talk about that, but I can't think of the general's name. But he had given the land to them, and after he passed, then the land was taken back. And then that happened all across New Bern, especially like where I live at in when I was raised in the community of Pembroke, which was predominantly a black community. And I learned a lot about, which I didn't know about for a while, but a lot of the slavery and stuff that took on actually happened right there in the community where I was from in Pembroke. My mother used to tell stories all the time where, they would say because of what happened, you could actually hear during certain times the spirits, like when it would rain really, really hard. She would always tell those stories. You could hear at certain times the spirits literally running through our neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So I know a little bit about the history here.
That's good because we claim you guys as Gullah Geechee people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I consider y'all to be part of the corridor, to be a part of what we try to do, because we always try to acknowledge our Gullah Geechee history. That's how we met Jesse. Jesse came to our festival.
Shout out to
that's how we got connected with you guys, just to build a history and connect.
Right.
Yeah, I knew Jesse for a few years. I met Jesse in person here in Sierra Leone 2 years ago. He reached out to our company and said he wanted to come over here and see what it was like in Africa. He had a great trip. He was over here, man. We went to the villages. We went everywhere with Jesse. Jesse had a great trip. He really did. And he's such a great brother. He's such a genuine guy,
He is.
Yeah, he's just not, even me, I handle him with care. Hey, brother, like he's a good brother,
He is.
Yeah, so I was excited to be able to see him go to Orangeburg, go to my neck of the woods, our neck of the woods, and actually show some love. Right. So eventually, we got to find a way up to New Bern. But Kimo is Kimo's absolutely correct though about the Gullah Geechee heritage. We always emphasize this is something that hasn't really been defined properly because the descendants haven't defined it for themselves collectively. Mm-hmm. It's been anthropologists, it's been historians, it's been government officials, it's been a few Gullah Geechees who are isolated in their own viewpoints, but it hasn't been the collective of the descendants saying, hey, this is who we are, and this is where our communities work. When you look at New Bern, you look at Wilmington, that whole area right there. Yeah. That whole coastal area, that sea area was perfect for Gullah Geechee people. What a lot of people don't know is that they didn't only bring Gullah Geechee people to plant rice. They chose the people because they were from a certain environment in West Africa that's very much like that coastal area. So they brought people from a coastal area to a coastal area so they could do other things like build ships. Yeah. Do things like fell trees, timber work. It was never just about planting food. It was never just about plantation. See, we did all the work.
Right. And in those areas you just named, there's like a large bulk of Akan ancestry, hence why you have the Jonkanu Festival in the Wilmington.
Right. That's right.
So
that's right.
Right. Did a lot of research on that.
So talk about that, Dom. So enlighten us on the Jonkanu.
Jonkanu. Well, Jonkanu for one is practiced in North Carolina, the Bahamas, Jamaica, and in Bermuda they have a festival called Gombe where they do a dance called Jonkanu, and that descends from the Akan people in Ghana, West Africa. Like, it's so much I could tell you. Like, there was a lot of Africanisms maintained, and you got a masquerade, you got the square drum known as the gumbe, the jawbones, and all these different instruments. Like, and it's hard. It's crazy that people to this day don't even know about that festival in North Carolina. People say like, oh, it's festival in South Carolina. I have not found no firsthand account saying it was practiced in South Carolina. Only North Carolina, in Wilmington, I think New Bern, and Edenton.
And that, you know that area right there was an area where the Cape area, Cape Fear or something like that, right?
Yeah.
That area right there was directly tied to Jamaica. It was directly a lot of the white people who came over there and settled there. That area was largely settled, and they brought people directly from the Caribbean.
Yeah,
a lot of Jamaicans ended up in North Carolina through the Cape Fear.
That's true. That's very true.
Well, you know, North Carolina had a big maroon society. They had a place called the Dismal Swamp.
Great Dismal.
Virginia.
Yeah.
The Dismal Swamp was part of North Carolina and Virginia, I believe.
And Virginia.
My wife's grandfather was from North Carolina. He came out of the Dismal Swamp, and he went to New York and became a bootlegger during the 20s and 30s. So that's how I know I can claim that Gullah Geechee history, because you know my wife's from Charleston and North Carolina, and that's what she claims. That's what her mama used to call her, an evil little Geechee gal. So you know, but we claim North Carolina. Y'all forgive me for the little stories I be telling, but I like to tell personal experience.
That's all good.
I like to tie personal experiences into these things. It brings the story home. It makes it feel more alive when you can bring you know, your family experiences and personal experiences into it. And so that's what I tend to do. You know, so
it's important. You know, we was talking last time, I think the last show, about the importance of the stories. The storytelling.
Yes.
You know, the storytelling keeps the narrative straight. The storytelling might not be accurate. The storytelling might not be accurate, but if the story is told in one way in so many different times, you're gonna say, man, that the narrative is kind of leaning towards all these different stories because it's a repeated story. So the stories is good, especially when they come from real life experience. I be learning a lot just from you, Baba. Just from saying, hey man, you know, when I was in New York, we did this and that and this and that. And it's small details that's not written about. It's small details that you had to be there to know. And so I hang on to them gems, Baba, for sure.
Yeah, I do.
For sure.
I write them down.
See that's what I pick up on, man. See, Dom is good at that. Dom is always asking me questions to bring those little memories back for me. You know, he's always 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. He be calling me up. I want to ask you a question. So he helps to bring these stories out.
So I want to ask y'all something, right? In terms of the work that you do with the families, how do you engage the elders? Because right now I'm working with a group of people and we're trying to create a holiday to uphold the African elders. We realize that there's no day of the year that we stop to pause to give respect to our elders. And so we're creating a day called Siku Ya Waze. That's in the Swahili language, but it means Elders Day. And so me and a group of people who's trying to revive the culture and make sure that we got a good culture to actually pass on to our babies, as opposed to what we was given or what it has turned into. We're trying to create culture now. And one of that is recognizing that our elders lead us, that they paved the way, and that we provide them with the role that they need to play. All the times we don't necessarily recognize the people who paved the way for us, you know. And then, but we run to the ancestors, we jump right over the elders. And so the elders are closest to the ancestors. We uphold them first. We have to uphold the living immediately. You know what I mean? Them and the babies. And so I want to know, do you guys have anything in your program where you actually focus on the elders and empowering that part of the community?
We're actually working on some stuff at the gym that I'm at. We're doing stuff with the elders with health and wellness education. Working on doing some some workshops that would, help teach them about healthy eating and stuff like that. That's one way that we're connecting with them, besides just, going around with the podcast and stuff like that and talking to the elders and gaining information.
Yes.
But, I feel like one thing, back to the health and wellness thing, even though it affects everyone, it affects the elderly a lot as well. And a lot of the elderly are just, kind of like thrown to the wayside, put into the retirement homes and whatnot. And I actually train in some of these retirement homes, and I can tell you, they're not feeding these people well. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to our people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize there's a lot of racism and stuff involved in that. You know what I'm saying? They look at the way that we were, I'll say, trained to eat. So, they'll give their Caucasian counterparts one type of food, give our people another. You know what I'm saying?
Different kind of food.
So,
yeah, man.
You know what I mean? So if we're not getting that understanding of the types of food that we need to eat, the types of food that our bodies naturally digest, when we get a certain age, then we'll continue to eat the same way. So one thing that we would, working on doing is nutrition classes for the elderly. That would help them, have a better understanding of their health and wellness.
Yeah, man. That's dope. That's real dope, man. Here, I have never seen an old folks home in Africa. I've never seen it. The role of the elders here is clearly defined. They help take care of the babies. They help maintain the home. And a lot of times they maintain the storytelling. They also maintain like the early education aspect of the babies. So the early education might not be done by the mother. It might be done by the grandmother and her sisters and, cousins. And so there's always like a group of help around. And, the elders are useful in the community all the way until they transition here. I've never seen an old folks home here. You know what I mean? And so you're right. And then the eating part, my mom used to work as a nurse in these old folks home, man. They used to treat people foul. They used to beat on them. Yeah. They used to give them the wrong medicine, make them miss their medicines, all that stuff, man. Yeah. So we gotta cherish them.
That's that's real, because when my mother-in-law got sick, man, and my wife was we were thinking about putting her in the nursing home, but we ended up keeping her with us, so she ended up staying here. It was a challenge. I ain't gonna lie. It was a challenge, but I think that my mother-in-law enjoyed the fact that that we were taking care of her, that she didn't have to depend on nobody to make sure she was taking her meds and eating right. As long as she could see her stories when she wanted to and catch her little program, she was happy. And of course, once again, another life experience story. I used to enjoy watching the NBA championships with my mother-in-law. She was a big NBA fan, and that's how me and her got close. But no, we didn't put her in a nursing home. She ended up staying with us, her last couple of years, and it was, like I said, it was a challenge, but it was all good.
And that's how I was raised. If somebody, one of the elderly, because I did have some family members, they put like their father or stuff in there, and my mother and my aunt, they were big on, hey, we got the room, let's take them in. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And my mom, I don't know how many countless times I've seen my mom helping to bathe one of the elders or something like that. You know what I mean? Making sure they go to the doctor's appointment, take them to the grocery store, get the foods that they like to eat. You know what I'm saying? And free of charge. That's another thing, because a lot of people would charge just to keep, like people actually get paid to take care of their parents or their grandparents now. You know what I'm saying? Through these organizations, hospice and stuff like that. And I get it, economically, as we were just saying, yeah, it can be tough. It can definitely be rough.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with different, you know, people's mind frames and how they was raised and stuff like that. So yeah, it's very different, especially dealing with someone that's having a lot of health issues. You know, but yeah, that's the way I was raised. And I can just tell you stories of the people that have been back and forth in my home. You know, my mother took care of my grandmother, then took care of my grandfather. You know, great aunts that we took care of, cousins. You know what I mean? We had a cousin that was in the home, and as you talk about how they beat them, you know, we go there to check on her. She got bed sores all the way from the back of her neck all the way down, you know what I'm saying, to her tailbone. So my aunt and my mother was like, yeah, she's coming with us. You know what I'm saying? And took care of her. But now you see more and more retirement homes popping up. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm glad to hear that in Africa you don't see that, because here you see more and more of it popping up. You know what I'm saying? And then you always hear these stories of you know, them dying and stuff and not living long because they're not treating them well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're not feeding them well. Like you said, you're not making sure they get their medication. You know what I'm saying? Some of them aren't even tended to properly. Like you could be left in your room for hours on end without someone even coming in and checking on you. So
there was a time. There was a time when we didn't throw the old people away. I was fortunate enough to know 3 of my great grandmothers, and they were able to pass on a lot of that knowledge on to me. Same thing like what Jasa, that's what she was saying. The knowledge was passed on through the grandmothers. The men were around too, but I was raised mostly by my great grandmother and my grandmothers, and they told me the stories, the hoodoo stories, the traditions. I grew up on the front porch. You know, I sat around and I heard the stories, and I wasn't paying a lot of attention to them back then. But as I got older, at the age I am now, I'm able to remember a lot of those old sayings and things that were, I guess they were passed on to me unconsciously because I remember them now. You know, here in the morning when I'm working out, that's what I be thinking about. I talk to my ancestors on a regular basis. I call their names. When I go running, in the mornings, I call on them. I tell them, come run with me. And sometimes they give me that little extra push, that little extra boost when I feel it a little lazy and don't want to do that last lap. You know, I'll be like, Papa Joe, give me some strength. You know?
I totally understand that.
I'm telling you, our ancestors are a superpower.
The
more you know, because you know one of the reasons why we did this show was because we wanted to celebrate what we know about our ancestry and inspire other people to go on that journey. Because, like Kimo was saying earlier, man, life is a journey itself anyway. This whole experience that we're in is a journey. Is you're going to have different experiences, go different places, and even be different people at different stages of your own life.
That's right.
You know, and so just to be at the stage where we're like, okay, you know what? Out of all the family members that we know, we might be the most committed to this part of the cultural work, this part of preserving the history of the culture. So we're relatives, but we're also within our own extended families, the go-to people. And so we want to grow. We want to connect with other people that's providing that service for their families and make this thing come together, because we don't have archives that are Black owned and Black controlled. We don't have research institutions to make sure that we're putting people's family trees together and doing it for them, that we can get the resources to do it for the community. Not that everyone has to know everything we do, but that they entrust us with the ability to put the family trees back together. And for us, we realized that during slavery, a lot of people were brought from Africa on the same ships, and a lot of them ended up on the same plantations or in the same area. And so there's relationships that we have that we came from Africa with, It's not just like everybody came individually and unconnected and unrelated. And so it looks like for us in Orangeburg that there was like a whole community of people who had come from the same few communities in Africa that have intermixed all the way up until today. You still find these bloodlines favoring each other in the same area and intermixing. And so when you get past the European surnames, and you start watching the actual lineages, then you start getting into understanding how our community came about, not only in Orangeburg in micro, but in macro, how our whole community was happening everywhere in the same similar kind of way. These plantations were small Black communities. They had small populations on there that we had our own culture preserving. We delivering our own babies. We was raising our own babies. We was trying our best to be as free as we possibly could under the circumstances. And that fight for freedom is actually what is the essence of our culture. And so it's hard to get back to our culture and our truth without discovering the freedom fighting of our ancestors. And when you're into ancestral veneration, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for their faith. You're looking for their prayers. You're looking for their fight against white supremacy. Because as you go out today, that's what you got to fight. The same forces, the same people, the same things you have to fight today as our ancestors had to confront back then. So I've gained a lot in my own spiritual journey just from being a part of this collective, because I'm always reflecting on what Dom has been able to find about his ancestors. Always reflecting on what Chemo has been able to find about his ancestors, and what we've been able to find out about our common ancestors. It's a powerful, powerful thing. So we would like to be able to do that, because a lot of people would say Orangeburg is outside of the Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor, but it is in the Low Country, and the culture is definitely documented there and still practiced there. We still have our own vernacular of the language and everything there, especially deep in the country. So people will dismiss you without having the full information about you. And so we would love to be able to help the New Bern community do this as well. Because I've been helping Jesse too, trying to get him, man. Hey man, let's start it. Let's get the elders DNA tested. Get the elders DNA tested, so we can go farther back. If you get the elder people DNA tested, it goes farther back. So I'm able to learn things about a certain lineage because Chemo is a generation before me, and he's catching people that I could never catch. You understand? So it's a whole powerful thing, and for us, our community is watching us do this, and it's inspiring people in our families. It's inspiring our community to also embrace family again through genealogy, through the research, and it's growing. So definitely, if there's anything we can do on that level, I would love for us to partner on that. One of the things we just did is we just entered an MOU, memorandum of understanding, with our good friend Tamara, and now we have a national headquarters for our organization. 10 miles of land, 10 acres of land, right there in Orangeburg, Charleston Highway, and we're going to be doing a lot out there. So we can collaborate on programs and ideals, because just from this interview, I realized that you guys are a dynamic power couple. Yeah. And
thank you.
So what you're doing is very impactful, whether you know it or not. What we're doing is usually flying under the surface because no one rewards you for it. No one holds you up for this. You understand? But at the same time, you will see the change in people over time if you keep doing what you're doing. So y'all just keep it up. And if there's any way that we can collaborate programmatically, y'all got any ideals, y'all just want to chop it up, we always here. 100. For that. Anything got to do with unifying our people, that's priority.
We already know y'all down. Jesse already vouched for you, so we already know. We already know who we're dealing with, you know. So I'm sure Jesse and his people will be back for the next event that we hold, and you guys are welcome as well. But one other question, I have one other question before we go. What is the future holding for Black Family Rising? What do you guys have planned?
Okay. So the future holds where our what we pretty much focus on really is creating safe spaces for families and giving them a safe space to heal, right? Especially when the society and everything forces trauma on every turn. Just to create that safe space, and a part of that is, you know, us going out in the community and making these connections like we are doing, and just letting people know, like, hey, we're here. We understand. You know, it's difficult out here, but you can get through it. So that's what the future holds for us, is just making more connections, building more programs, and, you know, wherever spirit leads us, that's where we'll be. This whole project has been spirit led pretty much. Black Families Rising was vision that God gave me about us, you know, as Black people, brown people, Indigenous people, having our own everything, having our own land, our own grocery stores, our own medical facilities, our own electricity companies, our own water supply, our own food, so that we can create that space that we need in order to become better within ourselves as a community. And, you know, that's just where it starts. It starts from within first, teaching people how to love themselves. That's the first part. You know, it's okay to love yourself. It's okay to have self-care. It's okay to say no to things and to be selfish, as we are a culture that is overworked, and we pride ourselves on being overworked. Sometimes we do. I work 5 jobs. You know, and
What you mean? Can I have 5 jobs, man? You know,
man.
But on the real talk, y'all sound like our kind of people.
Yeah.
We are here to support in any way we can. You reach out to us, we'll reach back to you, and that's what Gullah, that's what our Cosmic Green Spot is all about. You know, networking with other like-minded folks and everything, man. And I'm sure we can collaborate on something. You know.
Oh yeah. One of the things we plan to do is we plan to do community libations at certain times.
Yes.
We plan to make a call and bring people to the burg just to do a mass libation. You know, keep the energy clean. And then at the same time, we also plan to teach people how to make altars, what to put on them, you know, how to do genealogy, you know.
Yes.
You say ancestors as if they don't have names, as if we can't find out their names, as if we can't do that little bit of research and say, you know, great uncle such and such, and call on him when you need to. And so it's very important. It's not just about the parents. The parents had siblings that they love. The parents had parents. Them parents had siblings, and they go all. The tree is really a tree, and they're all ancestors if they're not here with us today.
They never.
And one day we'll be ancestors. One day we'll be ancestors. You know.
That's true. Something else I wanted to say too. We was talking about the future of Black Families Rising. We also have another podcast that we just created called Emerging Thought for Melanated Men, which will be airing in September. We don't have the exact date just yet. Me and brother Milton McGee, which we talked about, he's my co-host. So I want to extend to you guys, you know what I'm saying, to come on our show as well and talk with us. And also we are working on probably by next year, we're working on having our own Black Families Rising magazine. We'll start with a digital magazine, and then looking to make it make physical copies, excuse me, as well as a couple of ebooks that I'm working on the health and wellness side. So we got a few things we're working on, a few things. We doing some of these that we did, the live podcast event. We're doing that again next year as well as the exhibition. So.
Well, don't forget us in Orangeburg, brother. Whatever we do, we want you to be a part of it, and what you're doing, we want to be a part of what you guys are doing.
Exactly.
How they say it? One hand scratches the other. Scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. But this African culture thing, we're heavily into it, and this is what we do. This is what we do. This is our This is our legacy.
Absolutely. Lineage restoration.
This is what we want to do for not just ourselves, but for future generations. So I commend you guys. I commend you guys for what you're doing. And say hello to my boy Jesse.
Man.
Man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we thank you guys for not just having us on the show, but we thank you guys for what you do. You know what I'm saying? Learning about you and what it is that you do. You know, we actually were at Jesse's his oldest kids when they were doing their rites and casting. We were there, and that was the first time we actually saw you.
Yeah.
And you gave them the names. So you know, we're glad to be a part of this thing in any way, form, or fashion, man. And we thank you guys for the work that you do, you know, and what you're teaching. It's greatly needed. So we really appreciate it. You guys are community heroes, definitely.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
There's more to come. More to come.
Definitely more to come. So no further ado, man. Go ahead, Kimo.
Oh no, I was just about to say that there's more to come. Believe me, before the summer is over, you're gonna see some things. You're gonna. I tell Chief all the time. I tell Chief all the time. I told him, watch out for this summer. It's going to be some big things happening, and it is happening. It's happening as we speak. We connected with Jesse. We connected with you guys. We connected with some other folk. We got our little headquarter thing popping off right now, and as far as I can see, the future is looking good. You know, we ain't gonna get rich, but we're gonna do something for the people.
That's right. Say that, man.
I like that.
Hey, look, that need to be a T-shirt. That need to be a T-shirt. We ain't gonna get rich, we're gonna do something for the people. You understand?
Right.
That's it.
See, let me tell you, it's small details, little things like that I catch all the time. I never know. When I'm doing my research or whatever, I never know. Somebody may say something, I may read something, and a little detail can lead me down a path that I had no idea I was going.
Like I always love to say, man, what you do in the past writes the present. What you do today is gonna write the future, and y'all are definitely helping to write a better future.
Yeah, man. No doubt. Thank y'all so much. Definitely. Shout out to the whole New Bern community. Y'all did great. Congratulations on your Juneteenth commemorations this year, and we're looking forward to catching the whole family again up in Orangeburg next March. Y'all be good out there. If y'all need us, straight up. If y'all need us, even if it's just advisory, hit us up. We already family. Let's do this. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Right. Thank you for being a part of the Gullah House show.
Yeah, thank you. All right, we're gonna let y'all go for now and close out.
All
right. Peace, family.
All right. Peace.
All right, y'all. Hey, man. Another banger.
Ain't it?
Booyaka.
Yeah, man.
Hey, you ain't your Jamaican.
I don't know. Hey, guys. I don't know how we do it. I never know how these shows are going to turn out, but they always turn out to be a banger.
Yeah,
you know
man.
It's just the way the spirit is moving. You know.
Yeah, man. You know, we have some great people in our community that needs to be seen, that need these platforms, that's doing the work, and really have great intentions for our babies, but we don't always come together to uplift each other. I love this show because it's a way for us to contribute to that, for us to identify those in our community that we feel as though is doing great work, and invite them to our platform and held them up. You know what I mean? Yeah. Show them to the world. Say, hey, this is somebody who's doing some great work. And that way we know that we're not alone in this struggle to change our world or change our situation.
Exactly right.
You know, very powerful, very, very powerful show. I love to see husband and wife doing the work. I love it. Me and my wife do the work. You know, I love to see when it's family leading that way.
Exactly.
It's inspiring me. I might have some hope in finding an ideal wife after all, man.
Yeah, man, they out here.
I have hope after all.
Hey, keep your eye open, Dom. You need a good, strong partner. You need a good, strong partner. like Chief just said, he got Kenya for his partner. I got Lisa. Without her, I don't know where I would be. I really would, because she made a difference. She made me choose her. I chose her, but she made me choose her. And
yeah, man,
it is what.
But
yeah, this was a great show, guys.
Man. Yeah, because of Lisa, man. We love Lisa, man. Lisa take good care of you, man. She keep you motivated and keep you healthy for us, man.
She do.
Man. Yeah, man.
All right.
So we about to get out of here, y'all. We love y'all. This will go another episode of the Gullah House Show. Y'all know what it is. We'll be here in 2 weeks' time with another banger. All right? Y'all be good out there. We're gonna let y'all go. But hold up, before we let y'all go, I gotta give y'all our banger. You know, you can't leave without the banger. All right, y'all. Talk to y'all later.
Jag minns ju den tid du gav mig life billar jag. Nu vill jag kunna ge tillbaka allt jag inte kunna ge förut. Det finns ingen annan där som kan stå här by my side, oh why. Sättet du rör på det får mig att dö för dig baby. För de här yardis, de vill ju bara dra ner oss. Men du är fett och vanlig. Och det jag lägger all min tid och jag vill ha det. Du får mig känna safety. Jag kan nog leda baby. Och jag kommer aldrig ändra mig.